Being a Muslim supremacist isn't racial. Muslim isn't a race. It's not an ethnicity. It's a belief. And we absolutely believe in the perfection and superiority of what we believe in. We have absolute conviction about that, absolute commitment to that, certainty about that, yaqeen about that. But do you have that about yours? Do you have that conviction about yours? You're very busy trying to impose it all around the world, but when times get tough for you, your so-called enlightenment values go out the window, don't they? I mean, when there's too many diverse opinions in your society, then you start creating bureaus and departments in the government for combating so-called disinformation. Freedom of the press is out the window. When times get tough, you ban protests. You arrest people for protesting. Freedom of assembly out the window. When your belief system becomes difficult to maintain, difficult to preserve, you throw it under the bus without hesitation. But that's not the case with Muslims. Muslims throughout imperialism, throughout colonialism, throughout the Crusades, throughout poverty, throughout war, throughout invasion, throughout occupation, have maintained their belief. Even without the Khilafah, even without the Islamic State, and even without the Islamic Empire, Muslim societies are still strong and committed to Islam. We're still committed to our belief system. Nothing can change that. Maybe we have failed states, but we don't have failed societies. We don't have failed cultures. Our governments may fall, but our people remain the same. Our people remain committed to the same values, to the same morals, to the same moral laws, regardless of whether there's a government over them to enforce that. But that's not the case with you. Even though you're trying to impose your value system all around the world, when things become difficult in your own societies, you abandon your principles, you abandon your values. They're insufficient for preserving the security and the stability and the tranquility of your societies. They're insufficient, they're inadequate for that. So that alone, along with many, many other things, that alone shows me the inferiority of your value system, the inferiority of your belief system, and the superiority of Islam. And your belief system, your enlightenment values, are extremely selectively applied in your society throughout your history. They apply to some people and not others. It's like in George Orwell's Animal Farm. Some people are more equal than others in your society. Your value system is not evenly applied. I mean, there's obvious examples everyone knows about. But just look at democracy, for example. You want democracy all around the world, supposedly. You say that you want democracy all around the world, so-called. But you don't even apply democracy. Let's just, for the sake of argument, let's pretend that you have a democratic system in the United States, and it's an actually healthy, functioning democratic system, which is obviously not the case. But let's just, for the sake of argument, pretend that it is. You don't believe that democracy is important, for example, in the private sector. You don't believe that businesses, that companies, that corporations should be democratic. Your belief in the supremacy of democracy does not extend to the private sector. Corporations don't have to be democratic, do they? In fact, corporations are sacrosanct. It's sacrilegious to say that there should be any intervention in the private sector to make it actually accountable to the population, accountable to the public, accountable to the workers. And anyone who even talks about something like that, anyone who even suggests that companies and corporations should be democratic, will be persecuted. I mean, look at the struggle that organized labor had in the United States. Coal miners were literally bombed from the sky when they tried to organize and secure their rights and have some kind of democratic representation with the coal companies. When just now, when the railway workers were wanting to strike for better wages, for more humane working conditions, more rational and reasonable and fair workloads that would actually help to guarantee the safety of those trains, Joe Biden and the government prohibited them from striking. Where's the democracy? Because you don't mean the things that you say. You don't mean the values that you espouse. You don't mean it. If you meant it, then you would apply it across the board. You would apply it to everybody in all institutions and all dimensions of your society. It would be applied everywhere. but it's not.